to actually hear from you guys. I saw a lot of the recipes you guys made yesterday. I'm realizing I've got cleavage today. You guys don't care. I saw a lot of you guys yesterday making stuff, which was awesome. I saw so many of those wraps, and like Allie in where are you? You're not New Zealand. You're in Australia. She tried the pumpkin out just for you guys who didn't see that, and it did not work. She said it was gross, but she did do it with steamed cabbage leaves, and I know someone had mentioned that yesterday. So you can use cabbage, you can use collards, chard. I'm just loving seeing what you guys are coming up with, all your creativity. And let's see what else. I guess people on the chat are kind of just trying to figure out the sound at the moment. Okay, hi Anna, welcome. Hi Julie with no E, Julie T. And then we have Doctress Newtopia. Awesome to see you guys all here. I'm so excited. So we're gonna kind of dive in, and feel free to comment as we go. And Caitlin, you can kind of just chime in if somebody's commenting. Kathy from California is here. Wraps were so yummy, says Linda. And I've made them with nori, coconut wraps, and rice paper, all delicious. So yeah, there's so many different creative ways to do it. And this group, this free 3-day challenge is about you guys. So we really do want to hear from you today. So we will open it up today also to hear from you guys, and just anything you're experiencing, what you want to ask about. Like, this is a good time if you've got burning questions about diet or health or going off sugar, like a really great time to kind of get into that. And I'm going to go over today some of our notes and just talk about, kind of continuing from yesterday, how emotions and mindfulness play a huge role in your eating habits, right? And we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but a lot of people are reward eaters. They feel like they need a reward for doing something, right? For, oh, I did a good job, so I need my reward. So, and then we touched on that about desirability yesterday too. So again, we're going to go back to the emotional piece, because we find that this is the key piece that's missing from most people's diet plan, right? Because like I said yesterday, we say things like, you know, we think we can do it with willpower. Like, I'm going to stop sugar, but we have to bring in the emotional piece. And in any program, including exercise, including anything we're doing, we always have to bring in that piece, because that's where all of our habits stem from, every single one, usually from our childhood, from how our mother fed us, or just what our family lifestyle was like. The funny thing is, most of us spend our entire lives trying to erase that programming. And so that's not unusual. That's something a lot of us deal with, and myself included. And I still find myself, even at my age, thinking back on some of my family's habits and why I am the way I am. So it's not anything that's a secret. We just need to all continue to keep looking at that, right? So that's why the meditation, focusing on meditation, gratitude, goal setting, and that's the stuff we focus on in our month-long program, our Keto Gone Green program. So those of you guys who are new to us and haven't done our love camp, which is now called Keto Gone Green, because we don't do what's a typical ketogenic diet, if you've heard of it, and it's all about eating tons of meat and tons of animal products. Our program is based on plant-based and alkalizing your body and healing your body with herbs and medicinal things, and just helping you to make that switch. Like we said, when your brain feels nourished, when your body feels nourished, you stop craving things. So that's one part of it. And the other part is putting in these pieces into place, which is your daily meditations, your daily journaling, your daily habits that are going to put you on track in the morning. So this time that we're all in isolation is the perfect time to get into your morning habits, because you don't have anywhere to get up and rush off to, most of you. So, you know, like I've told you guys before, I've extended my meditations. It used to be 20 minutes. I'm now doing like an hour and a half every morning. I'm finding more. This morning I did what's called a quantum meditation. And if any of you guys have heard of Joe Dispenza, I just realized I'm speaking really quickly, so I'm going to slow down. If you guys have heard of Joe Dispenza, he does what's kind of called a quantum meditation. And so you can look that up. We will share that with you during our love camp. We'll share links to our favorite meditations that we found. We use something called Insight Timer, and it is a free app. I believe it's free, or maybe it's a couple bucks, but it's very cheap and you can have it on your phone. And it's kind of a reward system as well, because if you do consecutive days, you kind of get like these little prizes, virtual prizes, of course. But when you hit a week or when you hit a month and it feels really good. Like, oh, I did 100 consecutive days. Wow, I don't want to break that cycle. So it keeps you kind of coming back. And we know that that works for us. We love the reward system. So instead of rewarding with food, we can find other ways to reward ourselves. And what I find for me, the biggest reason I keep going back to the meditation, which I did an amazing one this morning after the quantum, I do something called the violet flame, and I pretty much engulf the entire planet with a healing violet flame of peace and love and health and vitality and healing our rivers and our waters and our animals and just all of it. And it feels really good because when I go into, if I start focusing on myself and worrying about things, when I go into how can I serve, I can serve with meditation, right? Because if I'm more peaceful, I can emit that energy out into my household, into the world, into things around me, into my interactions. And it all starts there. So we can't really change people. And that's the other thing we're going to talk about today is how we affect our family and like how this works with all of us together in a household. And if you've got people eating different ways and like how to bring that piece all together. And the biggest way to do that is through our meditation and imagining. So I like to call it imagination creation. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sit down. I did it again this morning, just in front of my little meditation altar, which has like a crystal and a candle and, my favorite little pictures of things that make me happy or sayings that are positive. And I wrote down like everything how I want my world to look, I want to love, I want to be loved. I want to be in a beautiful setting with nature views and rivers and community and people that I love and that love me. And, I went on and on about that. And then I imagined like, of course, my perfect body looking the way I love it to look, feeling youthful, looking youthful. I just wrote down, and I didn't just imagine it. I wrote down each piece. Like I want to look youthful. I didn't have specific details. Just that's a desire of mine. I want my body to look and feel healthy and amazing and vibrant. I want to wake up feeling good every day. So these are this is a rant. So these are kind of the things you can just sit there and write down. And then you can just go into a place of stillness. And one thing that I want to share with you guys this morning, because I've been doing it a lot lately, is called box breathing. And what that is it's 4, 4, and 4, and 4. So 4 by 4. So first you want to breathe in for 4. And I usually do it kind of in a very like noticeable way. So I go, hold it for 4, out for 4, and then keep it out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you breathe in. And the reason I do it like that is because if I just go 1, 2, like count slowly 4, I never have all my air in. And if I count slowly 4 out, I never have all the air out. So I find that those forceful breaths will get all the air out and we'll get all the air in. And if you do that for even just 4 cycles, up to 4 minutes, you're going to notice that your whole state will change. If you're upset or nervous or stressed or you want to stress eat, that's another thing that you can add in before I eat, like what we talked about yesterday. Your if then, before I eat the cookie or before I eat the treat or before I have the thing that when I'm not hungry, I'm going to do 10 rounds of box breathing. And the reason it's called box breathing is because it looks like a box, right? Out, hold it out, in, hold it in. Around and around and around. And I love it. And I've been doing it all the time. And I have a little reminder in my bathroom when I'm on the toilet and I can see it. Oh, this is a great time to do box breathing. And then when I'm in my meditation altar, I have another reminder. Great time to do box breathing. In your car, put a sticky. Great time to do box breathing while you're driving. So there's never a bad time to do that. And so, yesterday we also talked about our emotions might run high and we want to reach for these things. And we just want to think, always, again, as a reminder, your future self. And I love Allie because she really put this into my consciousness about how we future pace and we want to thank our future self. Our future self thanks our past self. Thanks, past self, for making me these cookies that I'm going to make today. Thanks, past self, for not overeating when you were stressed. Like, thanks, past self, for taking me out in nature or for planning a hike or whatever it is. And then we're always looking into like, how do I want to feel tomorrow? And how do I want to feel next week? Instead of just being in this exact moment of like, well, I want this now. So again, the future pacing is really going to help. And that could be a little sticky. I love those little sticky notes because you can put them everywhere and they can remind you of things like, how do I want to feel? And that's all you have to say. That can be your trigger word. How do I want to feel? That's your trigger phrase. And that can apply to anything. If you're about to get into a fight with someone that a loved one or whatever, like, okay, how do I want to feel in 15 minutes? If I just launch into this person right now, my blood pressure is going to raise. I'm going to feel it in my stomach. I'm going to probably want to stress eat, on and on and on. But if I just breathe for a minute and say, you know what, I'm going to go take a break instead of having this conversation and go do a mini meditation or do my box breathing. And then let's continue this conversation, in an hour, and, take it upon yourself and don't be at the mercy of someone else's energy. And that's the other thing we want to talk about too, because we know your relationships are really important. And if you're surrounding yourself with people that their idea, and this might not apply to this now moment because I know we're in isolation, but that's not going to last forever. And we are going to be connecting with friends again. And we are going to be meeting people for coffee dates and different things. So do your relationships and friendships, and this could be a romantic relationship, a friendship, just your groups that you hang out with, so they surround around having wine and cheese together, and like unhealthy habits like crackers and cheese. And, oh, I can't, I hear this a lot. I can't, if I'm out and everybody's got eating cheese and crackers, I kind of just, it's hard to resist. So and I've had to do this for myself. Like I don't go, and I'm not really even tempted anymore, but when my running group wants to have wine and cheese parties, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to skip that just because those aren't my habits anymore. So it's not even interesting. But at first, if it still is interesting to you and you're like, wow, that's really hard to resist, or going to a birthday where someone's serving birthday cake, bring your little cookie dough balls that I'm going to teach you today. Have your support, but also start thinking about who you're spending your time with, because we want to form relationships that are serving us, not hindering us. We want the people around us to bring us up and make us feel good, not bring us down, right? So this is the time to start really reassessing, now that you can't be around your friends and around a lot of these people, like what kind of relationships do I want to create? What are the kind of people that I want to spend my time with? This could be one of the ones you visualize. Like I visualize people coming into my life that are high and vibrant and uplifting, and they teach me about healthy eating, or they're a good example for me, or they are able for me to influence them, like they are interested in what I'm doing. And these are all the kind of things that are going to serve us. And again, it goes back to mindset, right? Caitlin, I've been rambling for 15 minutes. Is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely add to that as far as like the journaling piece that we do and into the program too. We've had countless people take the program and then, not do the journaling piece the first few times. And then all of a sudden they're like, I finally did the journal, because every day we have a journal prompt. So you kind of get like a journal entry and then you can just free flow write. And I just remember she was like, everything changed when I started doing that journaling. So the reason why we talk about this is there is so much power around getting out of our own way and writing, meditating, all of that. And Julie Wallach asked if, like, how long you should meditate for. And Elena, you can give your piece on this too. But if you've never meditated before, it's really nice to do guided meditations. And that's why in the program too, we give you like the ones that we love. And actually this time we are doing a 21-day guided abundance meditation with our group, right? We're going to do that.
Yes, we're including that. And I'm actually on my second round of it. So it's by Deepak Chopra, and it's a free meditation. It's 21 days. And you get in your, like we use WhatsApp. So in your app on your phone, every day you get, it's only about 10 minutes, maybe 12 to 15 minutes of a guided meditation by Deepak. And it's all around abundance, but it really goes into a lot of areas of your life. And abundance doesn't just mean financial abundance, but abundance in love, abundance in health, abundance in whatever you're pulling in. And so his guidance, he's a very wise man. Of course, he's written the 7 spiritual laws of success. And it's really just I look forward to it every morning. The first thing I do is like, oh, what's my assignment? So there's a little assignment where you like write things. Today was day 17 for me, I think. I forget which day I'm on. No, I think I'm only on day 11, but you're going into your mom and like what you learned from her, what didn't work, and when did you connect, and when were you feeling disconnected. So it's really taking you into the root of all of this, which is what I keep saying. Like it takes you into the root of your ancestors and what they taught you, and how we just need to keep looking at this stuff and unraveling it through writing about it. So yeah. To answer the question as far as how long to meditate, I would say to start with 5 minutes, and in this box breathing, put a timer on for 5 minutes, and that's your meditation. Sometimes just deep breathing in and out. What were you going to say, Caitlin?
I was just going to say, Julie had a really great answer here, because Insight Timer is the free app that we talked about, and you can choose, 5 minutes or upwards. So I love the 5 minute. Start with 5 minutes. It's super, you'll realize how quickly it goes. And then she said, start slow. If you like, then build from there. If you want more options on Insight Timer, join for an annual membership. Super reasonable price. And then you can have access to way more on the app, like classes and different offerings. So yeah, I would just say start with the Insight Timer.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Thanks, Julie. And what I love, Julie, when you share this stuff is like, since I've been doing this for so long, sometimes I forget like what it's like when you're first interfacing. So thank you for sharing that, because yes, you can type in to the search part 5 minute, and then you can find different ones. This morning I put in quantum meditation, and I found a great one because my roommate just told me about a great quantum meditation. So you can search for whatever you want. And maybe what I'll do for our love camp, which is starting on Friday, right, Caitlin? This Friday we're starting.
It's starting on Friday.
Woo! So that, just so for, because I know there's 400 people that are signed up for this and they're watching it later. What that is it's 30 days of us coaching and guiding you through a total lifestyle change. An elimination diet, which means you're taking out the grains and the sugars and all the processed foods, daily recipes on how to, like, what to make. And even Caitlin has created a menu plan and counted all of your carbohydrates for you and all your macros. Proteins, carbs, and fats are macros. And so it takes the guesswork completely out of it. We have tons of people that are probably on this call now that have done it before and keep coming back because it works so well for them. So we offer this because we really believe, like, I was doing my culinary school for years in Bali and all over the world, and we loved that. We would teach people, they would come for our 3-week class and then a 1 week of detox, and we would teach them these foods, but then we didn't feel like the lifestyle pieces were as much in place, even though we kind of offered some of that. So this is a way to, like, every day you're going to get an email that says, today's lesson is about meditation, or today's lesson is about how to do a vision board. Oops, I'm hearing something background. Today's lesson is about, like, how to make a green juice. So you're going to get different either video recipes of how to make food or how to meditate or how to, just different things. So by the end of the 30 days, you've completely had a life transformation. Mm-hmm. And we can't say enough good things about this. We've been doing this now for, is it 3 years or 4 years? I don't even remember at this point.
Yeah, it's coming up on 4 years.
Yeah. And we keep doing it because people are having such amazing success and they keep coming back. And every time we do it, every season, which is winter, spring, summer, fall, we get half of the group is repeaters. So they keep coming back, and we give you a really great price for repeating. You don't have to pay the same price, but I really want to strongly, if you're in this 3 days and you're getting excited about even just what I'm talking about now with going sugar-free, I really want to strongly invite you to join us for this, because especially in this time at home and all the packaged foods are sold out and all the stuff that we're using is in stock because people are not into health the way they could be. It's a great time because you can access most of the ingredients. And we have addressed the fact that if you can't access the ingredients, we're here to help you figure out, like, cabbage instead of chard or kale. And all of us work together to help come up with the solutions. And we all are so committed to helping you, not just me and Kate, but all of our mentors and all of our past students. We're all in this together. And like I said at the beginning, how can I serve? So a lot of people that have done this, they want to help you. They want to serve you. And so you've got this great resources at your fingertips to help you, all the habits that you've had, to kind of release them and move forward. Mm-hmm. And again, I can't say it enough, but me and Caitlin are living proof. Julie, who was on yesterday, is living proof. Liz, the other Julie from Bend, like, all of them have had major transformations.
Mm-hmm. On that note, Linda did ask, will there be live sessions kind of like what we're doing now? And the answer is, some of you answered on there, but I'll just answer it for everyone. Yes, we have a weekly coaching call, similar to something like this. And it's every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then Mondays, we added in a virtual cooking class. So it's like what we're doing today as well. And then we added in a bonus, just like Q&A call in the last week of the program. So you'll have that as well. So that answers that.
So we're on twice a week with you. And then, yeah, and then there was tons of email as well, like not email, but Facebook interaction daily. when people post things, usually within an hour, someone's responding to it. If it's not me or Kate, it's someone else. So yeah, you'll get tons of interaction. So the other thing I want to say before we keep moving on, talking about our pillars, is in your household, you can lead, or with your friends, even leading by example. So inviting, not forcing, right? I'm just going to reiterate that, because when they start to see you transform, they're going to probably feel like, oh my gosh, like I want that. And it's happened to me over and over again. The reason, it's so funny, because when I first went into raw vegan and was doing that, I was teaching it and making food for people and delivering it. And people would say, well, what do you do when you hang around friends or people that aren't eating the way you're eating? And I'm like, oh, well, usually they get converted pretty quickly, because they see all my energy and they see how happy I am, and they taste the food I'm making, and they're like, I want to try that. So it's like, a lot of people have even said on this that their kids like it. I think one person yesterday said one kid liked it, one kid didn't. But you'd be surprised who likes the food and who doesn't. And then the other thing is, when they see you transforming, losing weight. I have a friend who was a student, and then we became really close friends. And her husband wasn't on board with her yoga and her raw food eating. And then as I knew her, and after time, as the year or so went by, suddenly he was completely 100% on board, showing up at yoga class with her every day and making the food with her. And and she didn't even try and make him change. He just changed because he saw her having this transformation, and he didn't want to get left in the dust, like, ooh, wifey's looking sexy and hot. I don't want to get left behind or left. So there you go. Just be a great example and start being your own vibrant self, and people will follow. Mm-hmm. All right. So our just want to go, before we start the recipe today, I want to go into, like, again, our 3 pillars of success. And we've done a podcast on this. So if you haven't looked at my podcast yet and you're looking for things to do while you're in isolation, look up Pure Joy Podcast. You can just Google it and the iTunes will show up. But we went through these 3 for an hour each in detail, me and Caitlin, so you can go back and listen to those, and they're pretty recent episodes. But the first one is balanced nutrition. So our first pillar for success is that we're eating, like we keep saying, the healthy, not only just the salads and the green juices and healthy food, but the things like, which I'm going to add into our cookies today, the things like medicinal mushroom powder, longevity formula, spirulina, all these nutritious foods that we're adding in that make us feel satisfied. And that's going to be a huge way of getting rid of sugar. A lot of times we crave sweets because we're not nourished. And so nourishment. I really want to just reiterate on that. Anything you want to say else about balanced nutrition, Caitlin?
Well, I just want to add too that you've said this before, but our approach to keto is so much different than what is out there. And a lot of people would say, oh, keto, how is that balanced? But like, we really do pay attention to really switching out our nuts and seeds. Like, we're never eating the same thing every day or every week, and really making sure that we're getting enough protein, fat, and carbs, even on a ketogenic plan, because we're all about the sugar-free, as you guys know. So there is a really, balanced way to do a ketogenic approach. And we really just wish that there was another term that we could call this. We're trying to make our own trendy word up, but this is how people find us. So there you go.
It's basically low carb too. So and low carb's been around forever. So that's another way to look at it, because we're just lowering your carbohydrates, but we're not depriving you. And that's the other thing with this, is the second pillar is the satisfaction. So there's no deprivation, because deprivation does not work. You can fast for 3 days, but guess what? Most people are going to want to gorge themselves after the fast. And I'm living proof it's happened to me. But once you know how to make the satisfying foods, you can do that fast and add back in the satisfying foods. And the other thing I want to say about satisfaction from my experience over these 20 plus years is that I start to crave new things now. So instead of craving, and I have so many friends around me that are the same way. Oh, I haven't had green juice in 3 days. I'm really craving a celery juice. And that I made mine this morning because I hadn't had it in a couple of days. Or I'm craving a salad. I need some of that green powder. Like, my body just starts asking for things like dulse, things like, oh, I need some almonds instead of I need a cookie. Because if I were to eat something sugary, my head starts to hurt and I get that weird ungrounded feeling. My blood sugar does a weird thing. So now I don't want that. I want things that make me feel good. And so the new foods that you're going to be learning and that you're even learning this weekend are going to be new replacements to make you feel like now you're going to start thinking about these cookie bites instead of something else that you would be craving.
And who felt super satisfied yesterday on that wrap? I'm sure everybody did because it's so delicious. You're not really missing out on anything. And I just want to read some of the comments because they're coming through. Julie said her daughter loved everything I have made for her when we are together. In fact, she asked me to make her snacks for her plane ride. So, and we have to not assume that our family won't like these things because they are delicious. Just because they're deemed healthy, they still have, we're all about tons of flavor recipes too. And you'll find that on all of our free recipes on the website. It's always flavor, 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 flavoring with different herbs and spices, probably some things that you've never used before. So we're all about that. And then Linda says her husband cannot be convinced to commit 100%. He loves my food, but for the past 10 years, he has only participated in part of it. He loves some of the food, but he calls himself a flexitarian. I think a lot of us, yeah.
I consider myself a flexitarian, but in a different way. I've told you guys a lot before, but I don't do 100% vegan anymore, and that's my flexitarian. Sometimes I have some grass-fed butter. Sometimes I'll have local pasture-raised eggs. So that's my version of flexitarian. And I've just gotten more, less flexitarian only because I know what feels good. And so to someone else though, like Ray Mayor in Costa Rica, who does tons of fasting and only eats liquids, like I'm probably complete, like we're all in different places, you know. Someone who's fasting 3 days a week or 2 days a week constantly, which I go in and out of. Like, so it's not about judging. It's not about like, I'm doing this and you're not. We're all in our place. And I think even if your husband sees you doing more of this stuff, like, yeah, just he's at where he's at, and that's perfect.
Yeah, Julie says, absolutely. The food is so satisfying and she craves these foods, which I love to hear that. And Lynn said she tried the golden tonic as a vinaigrette on green salad with tomatoes. That's awesome. So it worked. We talked about that in day one, how you could use that as a salad dressing. So that's
yeah,
awesome.
Love it. And I tried mine with the sparkling water last night, and it was super good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So the last pillar is our mindset, which we're just gonna keep harping on it. It's the number one way to change and succeed. That's it. Just put that in your mind, that mindset is the number one way to change and succeed. Listen to our one whole hour. Maybe Caitlin, you can link it somewhere when you send out the repeat email of us talking about mindset. And it goes into also mindfulness. So mindfulness when we're eating, like not eating with a phone in front of us or a book or something playing on the TV. It's like, I'm going to sit with my salad and it's just me and my salad. Great if I'm having a chat, but even better to chew, be with your food. And then I rarely these days can even finish my salads because I've gotten so into this mindfulness that I'm just like, oh, I don't really want any more of this. And it's super hard to overeat broccoli and salads and cauliflower soups and a lot of the things we serve because they're delicious, but they're not full of sugar and the wrong kinds of salt and the things that make us addicted, the opiates. So when we're satisfied, we're done. So that's part of the mindset, is being mindful with your food. And also reminding yourself, and you might want to write this in a sticky or create a collage today or this weekend, you are worthy and you are worth it. So you could say, I am worth it. I am worthy of having an amazing body. I'm worthy of health. I'm worthy of feeling youthful and vibrant as I get into my 50s, 60s, and beyond. I'm worth it, right? Because a lot of times the reason we do what we do is like, oh, we kind of give up. Like, oh God, like I haven't gotten this belly fat off, so forget it. I'm just gonna, eat whatever I want. And I've heard people do that. I've actually been with people that are like, well, I can't lose the weight. And then they order something deep fried. This woman in Singapore, it's been blazing in my mind. She was an American, but we were all in Singapore together. And she's like, I'll add the deep fried shrimp with the blah, blah, blah sauce. And then she looks at us and goes, well, I can't seem to lose any weight. So I just said, screw it. And I'm like, okay, well now you're going to gain 20 more pounds. Have fun with that. How's that working for you? So yeah, we need to say we're worthy and we're worth it. We're worthy and we're worth it over and over again. And also know that when you're stressed, digestion is not optimal. So we need to be doing these meditations and these calm breathing so that we can actually digest our food and our stomachs cannot be bloated from the indigestion, and learning about which foods serve you. So everything we teach you might not be the best food ever for you, but you're going to find out. Oh, like for me, I can't eat too much sauerkraut because it causes too much gas, but I can eat little amounts, and I had to learn that the hard way. So trying things out and going, oh yeah, that works, or oh wow, I had no idea how good that was going to feel in my body. So keeping on being mindful, doing a journal. So the other part we really encourage is something called chronometer, and it doesn't have an H in it, so it's CRONO, chronometer, and it's an app, and I think it's very inexpensive as well. There is a free one, and you can start tracking and journaling in there what you're eating, how you felt, any of your exercise you can put in there, and it feels really good to quantify and be like tracking yourself, because you don't realize, oh, I'm eating like a lot at night, or oh, I didn't realize that I was having these things. And so if you're tracking everything and putting it in, it starts to make you more mindful and aware of your habits. So a lot of this is just tracking ourselves as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that a lot. I just wanted to say too, there's so much research out there on people with cancer or people with a chronic disease or something. When they start meditating, when they start visualizing health in their body, it actually happens. We can actually, mindset our way out of a lot of diseases. I'm not saying this is everyone, but it definitely has been shown and so much research to help. So why not do it with, how we want to feel in our body without the disease? Why don't we start now really visualizing that? So that's another key piece of the mindset, is know that it's possible. And I know for me, when I first found out I was ill, I deep dove into cleansing and juicing and healing my body that way. But it wasn't until I switched my mindset over like, oh, I'm in a healthy body. I'm not in a diseased body. I'm not in a chronically inflamed body. That's when I started to actually have the belief system in place. And it started to just more and more, I changed rapidly, like from doing everything right, but still not getting the results, still feeling super inflamed, to then all of a sudden, like 120%, I feel amazing.
I love that. And I've had a similar experience with my body. I've always had body image issues because of childhood coaches and dad and people saying things to me, inappropriate things about my body, just weight wise. So in my mind, I never believed that I could have the body I wanted. So every time I got there, I would sabotage myself. Does this sound familiar to anybody? Oh, I got to my goal weight, or I'm feeling amazing. And then it's like, oh, but I don't believe I can have this body, or that I deserve this body, or my programming says that I'm not okay. So I have to somehow be self-fulfilling prophecy, right? That word, like, oh, I can never have it. Like, could this really be true, that I can have the body I want? And it's just like I'm constantly checking in with that. Like, yes, you can. I am worth it. I can have the body I want. And now my body is actually, the digestion is finally healed. And I can eat things without having a lot of gastric distress, kind of like what you experienced, Caitlin. And I can feel good about my body and in my clothes and my fitness and all of that. But it's taken time for me to keep checking back in. I am worth it. I can have this. I do believe that I can have this body. And so much of it, as we know, imagination creation, imagining your perfect body first, and then all the pieces fall into place. And if you get into a negative place, go back to the journaling, go back to the, I can have it. I do deserve it. I am worthy. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, snow flurries, or either that or ashes. Anyway, out my window. Okay, so anything else before I jump into the recipe, Caitlin?
No, I think we should go for it. This is a great one.
Yeah, so today I'm gonna do cookie dough. We call these fat bombs, and those of you guys who aren't familiar with our Love Camp, fat is our friend in Love Camp. Fat is our friend in a plant-based ketogenic diet because it's satisfying, and it's also feeding our brain. Our brain is 60% fat, so these nourishing fats are actually going to be really good for us. And the foundation of a good healthy fats, one of them is coconut oil. Coconut oil is high in lauric acid. It's antifungal, antiviral. It's something that's really easy to digest. It bypasses the liver. It doesn't bypass the liver, but the liver does not need to process it. So it's much easier on our system than other fats can be. So this cookie dough ball recipe today is kind of based on coconut. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put some stuff in a food processor. So the first ingredient, if you wanna pull your recipes out, is a 1/4 cup coconut oil. And this is just the brand that I use is called, I switch around. I sometimes get some from Costco. This one's Nativa. But just make sure it's white and unrefined versus, so this one says virgin versus a refined, more yellow looking one. And make sure it's a reputable source. That's all I can say. And you'll kind of figure that out as you try different ones. The second ingredient is either coconut butter, which coconut butter means the fiber is still in there. And I like this brand, Artisana, but there's a lot of great ones out there. So this looks a little bit different. Hold that up to the camera. It has the fiber in it, so it's more like a real butter as far as consistency, like almond. It would be like almond butter or anything like that. But the reason we're using the coconut is because it solidifies when it's cold, and we want it to hold together. So I put some in the in the dehydrator. I have a food dehydrator, so it's nice and liquid because I wanted it to be soft. And I'm gonna put that in there. That's another, again, a 1/4 cup. And you could also use some kind of vegan butter, or if you still eat regular butter, you can use some grass-fed butter in there. So really the second ingredient is any kind of butter you want to use, whether it's a nut, a real, or a coconut, or a one store-bought one. Just be careful if you're buying a vegan butter though, that it's not a lot of hydrogenated or processed oils. And then we're going to add in our sweeteners. So my formula for this, yours says 1/3 cup Lakanto, which is this here. This is the brand we were talking about yesterday. And it says monk fruit sweetener, Lakanto, but it's mostly, like I said, it's mostly erythritol. And it says 1/3 cup, but I'm only using a scoop because I tend to get a little gassy from it. So I'm only using about that much. And then I'm going to use my stevia that I used the first day, a couple little tiny, 2 of these, so altogether 1/8 teaspoon of stevia. And remember we talked about booster, so we can add one thing and then boost it with our stevia, okay? And you could even, those of you who love maple syrup, you could put like maybe 1 teaspoon in. That would be okay, like just as a small amount of coconut sugar, just for the flavor. The next ingredient we have is our vanilla extract. I keep mine in a dropper bottle because I buy the big bottles of organic vanilla. And then this is about, each drop is about 1/8 teaspoon. So, or to 1/4, so that's about a teaspoon, I think. And I just find this easier because I can add this to beverages and I can add it to things. I just got my own dropper bottle and put the vanilla in there. I can regulate it better because it's expensive. And we don't want it dripping all over the counter. Then 1/8 teaspoon of our wonderful real salt from Utah, or 1/4 teaspoon, sorry. And then, now we do have a slight typo in the recipe, and I just want to let you know where it says 9 ounces of dark chocolate chips. That should be, so it says chocolate sauce beneath it, which says 9 ounces of dark chocolate melted. So of that whole bag of chocolate chips, here, this is the Lily's brand, you want to take out your 1/4 or 1/2 cup of chocolate chips and put those on the side. I keep mine in a jar. And then melt the rest. So maybe get that melting in the dehydrator while you're making this part, which is what I'm doing now. So I hope that makes sense. I'll go over it again in a minute. But so now that I'm not going to put the chocolate chips in yet, first I'm just going to homogenize the butter with the salt and the vanilla and get that like all kind of just like you do when you bake cookies. Basically, I went, I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is the same way when you get your egg beaters out and you whip all the butter first, the butter and sugar first before you make cake or whatever. You want to just get that all liquefied. I can see a little vanilla leaking out. That's perfect. And then I just want to add in my either almond flour. There's Trader Joe's one that I have. But I decided today I'm going to make my own coconut flour. If you don't do well with almonds, I do have a couple clients that don't do well with almonds, so I teach them how to make either sunflower flour, sunflower seed flour, pumpkin seed flour. You can make coconut flour, but it's different than the store-bought coconut flour because that doesn't have any fat in it. You want it to be the shredded coconut. And then I'm just going to show you in my blender how to turn that into a flour. There's an art to it, but it's very easy. So you want to just get your blender, and this could be any blender, doesn't have to be a Vitamix. Put in a little more than 2 cups probably. And then you're just going to blend it on low until it becomes a flour. And I got to plug it in.
And make sure your blender is very dry before you do this.
Yeah, blow dry it if you have to, or dry it out really well with a towel. Yeah. So just start on low. Okay, so don't go so long that it turns into a butter, right? You want it to be look like flour. So this is great. It's nice and fluffy like a flour. And then I've got my 2 cup. Caitlin, tell me if there's anything you guys can't see because I'm looking at the recipe.
We are good. We can see it all.
Good. Okay. So now I've got this beautiful flour. I'm going to measure out 2 cups. The reason I'm doing this is the recipe that's in the freezer right now has almond in it. And I don't want to, I have to be careful with myself because I love almonds. I don't want to be eating almonds every day. So I'm like, I need to have one that doesn't have any almonds. Okay, so there we go. Our own. And you could have done that with pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. They have to be dry though. It can't be wet. Walnuts don't make a great flour. They turn into butter too fast. I'm just trying to think if there's another nut. You could even use hazelnuts or something if you wanted, but don't use the little fatty nut.
Yeah, I've been actually buying the hazelnut flour from Thrive and using that in the rolls and stuff. It's been really great. So that could be a really good substitute. I
didn't even know they had that. That's so awesome. Okay, so here we go. Now is where it forms into the cookie. And you don't want to add the chocolate chips till the very end. Now I gotta plug that one in.
Well, Julie asked, what is the sub, or Jackie asked, what would be a sub for coconut oil?
Coconut butter, unless you can't have, okay, I thought about this today. Cacao butter, cacao oil, really. I'll just show you for those of you guys who don't know what that is or what it looks like. This is used in chocolate making, and it's the fat from the chocolate, so it's solid, just like coconut oil is. So you could use like the flakes like this in your food processor, and it would probably butter down. Try that. And it would taste really yummy because it smells amazing. It smells like chocolate, but it has the dark powder taken out of it. It's just the fat. It's called cacao butter, but it's really cacao oil. It's just because it looks like butter when it's solid. So any other questions, Caitlin?
Yes. So they asked, how much do you think the Locanto, was it 2 tablespoons that you used? Was it 1/8 of a cup?
Probably about 2 tablespoons, that looked like. So a quarter of a cup is 4 tablespoons. So a third of a cup is probably more like 5 or 6. So I used 2. I used a much smaller amount.
And then Abby asked, what type of coconut did you blend into the flour? And that was the shredded coconut.
There, just so you have the visual, the word shredded coconut. It's just shredded coconut flakes that I don't try not to buy from bulk bins anymore just because there's too many hands in there. I just ordered this online. I think Thrive Market is a great source. Company called that we love, and we'll share all of this with you in our love camp. We give you all of our resources. We give you links. We get you hooked up with Thrive Market, which is a super cheap way to order food instead of going through Amazon, supporting the small family. And all that stuff can be ordered online. There's a company that we love called Terra Soul, and we feel like their products are very high integrity. Everything I'm showing you here, like the cacao butter, the coconut oil, a lot of that stuff can be ordered through them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what about hemp flour, or oat flour?
Oat flour is going to be really high carb. I would never use oat flour personally, but I have my body does not like oats. So you could try that, but you're then getting into regular carbohydrates. So that's not something we recommend. And hemp flour, yeah, I think that's kind of like more of a protein powder. It might be really strong flavor, but you could try it. They make just hemp flour for adding to smoothies, maybe half and half. Yeah, but good. These are great suggestions. I like your guys' ideas. Oh, the other optional ingredient that I wanted to add in today, me and Caitlin love this. We sell it on the website, and a lot of our love campers have this to put in their coffee. It's called Longevity in a Bottle. And I always, whenever I'm telling you guys about it, I never say what the ingredients are because as you can see, they're so tiny. So I actually wrote them down. black maca, hoshu, astragalus, ginseng, both American and Panax, ashwagandha, moringa, chaga, reishi, lion's mane, cordyceps, noni, goji, mucuna, jujube, wakame, pine pollen extract, and nettle extract, all in this. So we're adding that just so you can get, remember we talked about nourishment, we're adding that, half a teaspoon into here to just sneak it in, right? Your kids are gonna eat this, whoever's gonna eat this, they're gonna get that nourishment when they're eating this. Here we go. You might have to open it at least once and just scrape the sides down. I like the spatula with a square corner because you can get onto the sides better. And that mushroom powder will change the color a little bit. Normally it's white. Now it's a little off-white, a little brown. I love it. Great. So there we go. We got a nice little dough ball batter here. And I'm going to put that in the bowl. Caitlin, you guys can still see me, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is where you want to change your recipe, and we'll probably edit it and resend it out with the video.
I've already edited it and resent it out. So.
Oh, great. So maybe some of you guys have the new recipe. I'm going to come back to the page so I can see you guys. So I'm going to just put all of this into my bowl and then add some of the chocolate chips. Now on the recipe we say 1/4 to 1/2 cup because some people really love chocolate chips and some people maybe like them less. The other thing you could add in at this point is maybe some chopped walnuts or anything like that. Like this is maybe where your hemp seeds could get added in or any of those little additional things. And I've got my lilies in a jar. This is how I keep them in the cupboard. Sometimes I just like to snack on them. Okay, so then I'm going to use my hands and just kind of mix it in. And just do it by sight, like, oh, that seems like enough chocolate chips, or oh, maybe I need a few more. I feel like we're going to coat these in chocolate today, which is optional. Most of the time when I make this, I don't coat them in the outer chocolate coating because I just think they're great like this. But I will show you how you can do that. So now I'm going to use, this is just a lid for my Tupperware because I'm going to put this in the fridge and I need there to be, I don't need to, if I put a big cookie sheet, that's not going to fit on shelf. So you can just roll them into little dough balls like this. And I feel like this could have maybe a few more chips if I'm not going to coat them in chocolate, which maybe I'll coat some of these, but not all of them. Because sometimes at night, I don't want that much chocolate. So maybe do half and half. You can coat half of them in chocolate and half of them not. This is also where, and I'll talk about this in a minute, you can change the flavor up to be the lemon ones. Remember that I talked about yesterday? You can make these as lemon balls as well. And the ones that are in the freezer at the moment have lemon in them, and I'll tell you what I did. How I changed. Pretty much the exact same recipe. Add a little turmeric and that lemon zest from yesterday. Look at these. You can see them, right? Yeah, they look good. So then just roll them. These are about a little bit more than a tablespoon each. And this should make at least 12 or 15. Looks like I'm probably going to get at least 12 out of it, balls. So I'm not going to sit here and do them all. I'll do them in a minute because I've already got some made ahead. But what you do after you do this is then you just stick them in the fridge or freezer until they're set up. I like doing the freezer, especially if I'm going to dip them in chocolate. Caitlin, while I'm grabbing my other chocolate out of the dehydrator, do you want to answer any more of the questions?
Yeah, so Denise said the Mayokos has a good vegan butter and it's made from cashews. And they do actually ferment that one. I have seen that one a lot at the store. So if you did want to use a vegan butter, that would be one. If you have issues with cashews, you might want to limit that one, but they are fermented. So that's a really good option. And then Kathy asked about adding goji berries to the dough. That would be super, super good. Of course, it's gonna add in some extra sugar, but goji berries are awesome. Full of fiber, full of vitamin C and minerals. So you could definitely add in probably a couple tablespoons to a 1/4 cup would be really good.
Anything else?
Let's see. Julie posted her amazing sugar-free chocolate resource. It's called Chalk Zero. I'll post that in our call notes too, in case anyone's interested in that one. And then someone asked, what about peanuts?
No.
No.
No to the peanut. Peanuts are full of mold and mycotoxins. They're super highly allergenic, and they are not even a nut. They're a legume that they use so many chemicals on them to keep them from molding. I would just skip the peanuts. That's what I say. There's so many great seed and nut butters. There's sunflower butter out there. You can buy pumpkin butter. You can buy so many different things. So I melted my chocolate chips in a bowl in the dehydrator. You could also do a double boiler with just like a steaming hot pan underneath. Don't get any water in the chocolate though. These ones, the only difference in the ones I just made in these are that I put 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric and the zest of actually 3 lemons, because I was making juice this morning, so I zested those. And I like things really lemony. And then I also added a few drops of lemon essential oil, which I always have on hand, but you don't have to do that. But if you want to make lemon ones, they're the exact same recipe. I still put the vanilla in. I put the same everything. I just added lemon zest, like let's say a tablespoon of lemon zest and 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric and about 10 drops of lemon essential oil, which is all optional. So you can come up with your own creative things you can do with this. And I just like the color of the yellow. So what I'm going to do now, take my bowl. These are rock hard. They came out of the dehydrator. This is a candy mold that I cut in half because it's 12 and they don't fit in the freezer very well. And then I froze. I just buy these online. You can just look for silicone cookie or candy molds. And I just like them because I like the shape. They're like a disc. And I know exactly that they're all the same size. I put them in my melted chocolate, and then you just use a fork and just tap. You can put this on wax paper, or I'm just going to put it right on, you can't see. There you go. Right on my, I'm going to use something to get it off though. On my Tupperware, right? So just dip them in, and then this is the extra step that's optional of dipping them in chocolate. And I feel like the dipping them in chocolate part is super decadent because they're great without this step. Don't feel like you have to do this step, but if you want to go for it, do it. Yeah. So your can be either with or without, just so you know. They count for the contest even if you don't dip them in chocolate. And you only have to do the first recipe that I demonstrated, which is the chocolate chip one. You don't have to do the lemon one unless you want to.
And what I did is I melted my chocolate and then I put it in a squeeze bottle and I just kind of drizzled a little bit of chocolate on top. And it went over very well. So I didn't dip them fully, but just got a little bit of extra chocolate.
I think that's actually maybe even a better idea because this is like super decadent. The other thing you can do, which I'll just show you with the last 3 that are here, is like you did that in a squeeze bottle. But you can
that's what I did. So if you see the picture in the recipe, that's with the squeeze bottle.
But you could also take a knife like this and then just drizzle it, kind of the same idea, without the squeeze bottle if you don't have one. That counts too. I think I'll do the rest of them like that because I don't really want that much chocolate on mine. Okie dokie.
And then Kathy says, I envision the lemon cookies with lavender essence and white chocolate glaze. Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Yes. All right, so there is your decadent cookies. That one fell over. So we're excited about seeing what you guys make. Do we have anybody that wants to comment or talk right now about their experience so far, or anything I said today that hit home or that resonated with you or that you want to share? Clarifying questions?
Lynn asks, she's confused. Do you have to put the balls in the dehydrator after refrigerating, or is it only from fridge to dipping?
From fridge or freezer to dipping, no dehydration. That was just to melt the chocolate. That's the only reason I use the dehydrator. Because and then like I said, you could use the double boiler method. But I like the dehydrator because I can just leave it in there and forget about it for an hour and then it's melted. Yay. Great question, Lynn. How long should you meditate? That was an old question. Oh, you need to scroll down. I'm behind on the comments, peoples. tried the golden tonic. Is it been good? Okay, I saw that one because that's the last comment. Anybody want to raise their hand and talk? You can click the raise your hand button, or you can just comment down here.
Julie asks, if we want to make cookies with this recipe, would it work? Like baked, I wonder. I don't.
They're kind of considered cookies. Oh, good. I have customers. I have my roommate and her boyfriend just walked in so they can try my treats. Customers! You guys want to meet Sherry and Taylor?
Twist my arm.
These ones probably aren't quite set up, but you can try those ones. So
What, this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, it's cool.
And lemon bites,
This
that one. Just because it's not the sun set up.
Mmm. I like the lemon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She likes the lemon.
So,
Real live taste test. I love it.
I feel like a little girl with a lemonade stand. I have customers.
Yay.
Maria asked, what is a good branded dehydrator? We love the Excalibur. And Julie's clarifying question, would these be good as baked cookies?
I don't, the baked part, this is not a baked recipe. This is a raw, just the way I did it. So I have not experimented with that at all. These are supposed to be instant cookies. We have great recipes in the Love Camp that are baked that you will learn, and those are completely different recipes. So this one, I would say no on the baking. There's no point. There's nothing to bake. Like there's no or anything that you want to bake down.
Kathy asked, did you say you used zest of 3 lemons in the lemon cookie?
Yeah. I did, and that's just me because I love the taste of lemon, and I had the 3 lemons this morning, so I zested them all. I'm like, just dump them all in. Does it seem too lemony, or is it good? Because I put 3.
that lemony was really good. I like that. I don't think I've ever had something lemony and chocolatey like that.
Okay.
I like that a lot.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that means it worked. 3 zests, 3 lemons.
And then someone asked, how much water did you do to make the sauce? And you would use 0 water, no water. If you put water in the chocolate, it'll turn into
just melt like a chocolate bar melted down is all you need to do. It doesn't have any water. In fact, water will destroy it. You will not like it if you put water in it. Good question though. I'm liking that you guys are asking because I don't want you to go and just follow the exact recipe on your sheet. Getting something to wipe my hands off. Okay, anything else? Anybody else want to say hi? Or it's 1 o'clock, so we want to honor your guys' time. I'm so glad you joined us for these 3 days, and I really want to encourage you to keep doing this stuff, even if you don't join our Love Camp, to do these recipes over and over, because we taught you a liquid, we taught you a yummy savory dish, and then we taught you a dessert. So these are staples now that you can go back to over and over again.
Mm-hmm. And definitely, we just want to encourage everyone, if you haven't, to participate in the challenge. It's just a really fun way to get motivated in the kitchen and actually make your recipe and photograph it if that's something that you've never done before. It's so fun to see everyone sharing. So if you're just joining us today, we really encourage you to do the full 3 days with us and really interact with us on that Facebook group. We'll keep that open as we do between our challenges. We're going to do these a couple times a year with everyone, and we'll change the recipes each time and make it a little bit different. And we do have some other questions.
Julie has a short share, she said, Julie Keenan.
Oh, sure. Okay. And then I'll finish.
Sometimes I take it for granted that people know or don't know, like you hear a lot about people losing weight, and that's my position. I've lost some amazing weight on this program. Others will ask me like, well, I don't need to lose weight. Why would I do this if I didn't need to lose weight? And I know that you guys are both really super healthy and lean, and you get amazing results. So I know that that's a really strong focus. And some of the women that have joined, friends of mine, you know, they all have their specific focus. So it's basically positive across the board. For me, I've had some challenges. I only was able to join in January at the 3rd week. So from the 3rd week on till now, I've lost almost 25 pounds. And that has been a combination of just like, I was depressed that I couldn't do it for the first 3 weeks because I was sick, but then I just got on board, and then I did it in between camps. And then I did the guided liver flush, which can be found on the Pure Joy Planet site, which is amazing. And it just kind of like, if I can do one thing into another thing and keep myself going and motivated. So I did that right before this, you know, coming in, do the 3-day challenge and then have a short break and then do the camp. It just keeps me on task and focused. And I think for my personality, I need that support. So that's why I keep doing the camps. Otherwise, when I'm on my own, like, you know, I'm independent, I can do it, but this really is a supportive group. And so I encourage anyone to not think of it as a one and done. Like, I learned it, I'm done. I mean, some people might be able to do that, but it's just really nice to keep it going. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And along that note, Julie Wolick asked about the link to the program that we've been talking so much about, and we will post the link. And I also wanted to just extend the offer. So for everyone who's joined the 3-day challenge and you have never joined a coaching program before, we really want to make this affordable for everyone. And so just by being on these calls today, we're going to offer the first 10 people who sign up $100 off that program. So you'll get it for $2.99 instead of $3.99. So I'm going to put coupon codes up there. So stay tuned for your email for you to sign up. Maybe I'll post some stuff in the chat boxes here too. But like I said, the first 10 people who sign up, they'll get $100 off. And then for the next 50 people who sign up after that, they'll get $50 off. So if you are really interested, just type in the comments. Let's get really excited about this and be watching for your emails too. And what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, and keep doing the challenge because we will have some prizes with that too for everyone who's tallying up their recipe points.
Oh yeah, and so other questions coming in is about the dehydrator. It says help. What are the main characteristics that I have to look for? Well, we like the box and we like the trays that slide in and out because the round ones just aren't that useful for all of the things we use it for because we melt stuff in there, we dehydrate nuts in there, which you can use any dehydrator for. And you don't have to have the dehydrator for this program coming up, but we just find it useful, especially because we ask you to soak and dehydrate nuts and seeds. So just go online and type in Excalibur dehydrator. And I think that the new ones are all now BPA free. They're really focusing on that. So hopefully that answered that. And then I did see another question, but it seems to have scrolled by. Someone said, with such nice recipes, I definitely won't lose weight. But then Julie commented, I think the style of eating takes you to the perfect weight. You'd be surprised how things change. Yeah, because it's different kinds of food. They stick to your body differently. Like I can eat a ton of fat and I don't gain weight because I'm not eating the carbohydrates with it. It's when you combine carbohydrates with fats that you start gaining weight. So that's why I was saying don't use the oats, keep it low carb. Anything else? Awesome. All right. Well, going. Does anybody have anything else they want to say before we sign off? Somebody said that the newer ranges of stoves now have those convection dehydrator ovens. So I don't know what kind you guys have. Awesome. Well, we love you guys so much. We can't wait to see all your submissions, and I can't wait to see who wins the challenge. And I'm going to be consulting with two of you for an hour on your diet and your health and answering your questions and helping you get more dialed in. And we'll see the rest of you guys at Love Camp on Friday at Keto Gone Green Camp.
Woohoo! And we'll announce our challenge winners, I think I said on Tuesday. So stay tuned for more emails from us and more support if you need it.
Yay! Have a great Sunday, y'all.
Bye, everybody. Bye.